श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। क्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभः निर्विघ्नं गुरुमय देवद्रविकार्ये सर्वदा गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वर गुरुस्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विशेषगौरवगणामधिके सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। व्यासम् अष्टनप्तारं शक्ते पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मं देशगदादं भवानिधिं नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गृहीमत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं। नारायणपरो व्यक्तदण्डं व्यक्तदण्डोऽण्डस्यान्तस्तु मे लोकाः सप्तद्वीपाचमयिधिनीं पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणे स्वयं व्यासेन कृतितं पुराणमुनिनामध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणे भगवतीमष्टादशाध्यायिनं वत्वामनुसन्ततां भगवद्गीते वेद्वेषिणे श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् अवतीर्णश्च कालिट्यां केदारेन्द्रहितश्च पीठप्रतिष्ठादाय यदाचङ्ग्रो गृह. Previously we were looking at Krishna explaining to Arjuna that you should follow me because I do the karmas even though I have nothing to gain from performing karmas. I do this. If I don't do karma, people will start following me. So now the question comes is, what would happen if you don't do the karma and people start following? And that's what we were looking in the 24th shloka, where Krishna explains that Utsideyur ime lokan na kuryam karma chedaham sankarasya jakarta syam upahanyam vimaha praja. So these worlds will be ruined if I do not perform action, and I will be the agent of Shankara, intermingling of the Varnas, and shall be destroying these beings. So I will become the agent of destroying all these beings. So that's what we looked at previously. So here again, Bhagavan explains that if I do not perform karma, if I do not perform the action all the time, these worlds will be ruined owing to absence of karmas responsible for maintenance of the worlds. So we looked at that previous slokas from 16 onwards, right? From 10 to 16, where Sahajna Praja Srishta Puro Vacha Prajavati, from that sloka we looked at. So where the maintenance of the world, karma is the cycle of this world goes around. So we looked at that previously. So, and I shall become, Krishna says here that I shall become the agent of this Sankarasya, so intermingle of the Varnas. And consequently, I will be destroying these beings. So because once one does not know which Varna one belongs, there is no defined duty, right? So karmas, again, we looked at when we say about performing the karmas, it is about swadharma, what one need to perform. And if you don't know what your swadharma is, right? So swadharma depends on your varnashramas. So if you don't know which varna you belong, which ashrama you should be taking and we should be staying in currently, or you are staying currently, then you don't know what karmas are you are qualified to perform. So it is not that everybody can come and say, I did 100 Gayatri Japas today, right? So Gayatri Japa, who can do, and when they can do, how they can do, all those are defined, clearly defined. So if that varnas is because of the intermingling here, for example, is Brahmana Shudra wife, Brahmana Kshatriya wife, or Kshatriya Shudra wife, Shudra girl, Brahmana Shudra man and Brahmana girl and things like that. So intermingling anyway, across the Varnas. So if that happens, then the children born do not know. I mean, we see this in a lot of cases, even in today's world, right? So where Brahmana, for example, a Brahmana marries a Shudra girl or non-Brahman girl these days. Okay, let's not call it Shudra. This is Brahmana and non-Brahmana, as I previously said, right? So the other three Varnas have disappeared almost. So if a Brahmana marries other one, then the child born, sometimes they do the Upanayana, sometimes they don't. And the reverse as well is true, where I have seen Brahmana girls marrying non-Brahmanas and then the children are born, they kind of want to do the Upanayana, but their father does not have any of those samskaras, right? So the child's father do not have any samskaras, so they can't do all those things. So it ends. So the samskaras do not happen, the karmas do not carry on. So the maintenance of the world will be will stop. Right. So maintenance of the world in the sense you might say that the world continues today. What happens when in the secular world everybody is happy? What is the maintenance of the world here we are talking about is as said by the Brahma himself, right? So I have given you these devatas who give you all the blessings and give you the rain, and from rain you will get all the grain, and from that you will do sacrifices and you eat and you grow, all those things, right? So this cycle, and which finally leads again, the fundamental thing is performing the karmas. It fundamentally, finally, it leads to that purification of mind. If you don't perform the karmas assigned to you, it will not lead to purification of mind. Just because a Brahmana performs Gayatri Japa every morning and evening, and I am going to do, I am not a Brahmana, I am not qualified, I don't have Upanayana or anything, but I still do it, right? Like I said previously as well, talking about sannyasa ashrama, just like that, if you do it, that's not going to result in a mental purification, chitta shuddhi, which leads to the jnana yoga, where one can enter into that jnana yoga, that atma sakshakar, that realization. Right? That's why Bhagavan says that if that happens, because people look at me that I am not doing the karma, and they also, my followers also give up performing karma, then I become the agent. I am the one instigated all that. I am the one started all this process, right? So this is through this what Krishna says. Again, I said this, I think I said this previously. Bhagavan here says that every leader has a responsibility of guiding the people in the right path. That's what Krishna is saying here. Okay, so he says that becomes my problem if I don't guide them in the right manner, in the dharmic way. That's what he says. And again, intermingling of varnas and brahmana, kshatriyas, or any other thing, so that results in karma is not possible. That's what we'll. Another interpretation of the verses here, starting from the 21st shloka, where Bhagavan says, Yadacharati shreshtas tad devetarojana. From that shloka, the meaning of from that shloka to here, 21st to here, is that it is not that you ought to perform your duty simply with the view of making people undertake their duties and preventing them going in the wrong path, but also because it is being the conduct of the eminent people. That's the meaning here, right? So that's how you should perform, because it is the conduct of the eminent people, that shreshtas, that's mentioned, shreshta, the shreshtas, those eminent people, whatever they perform. That's why Bhagavan says, Arjuna, you should also perform this. Now Arjuna might ask, what kind of is your conduct which has to be followed by me? He might ask that. The answer to that question, the conduct that has been already said by Bhagavan. He says that in the 22nd shloka from onwards, he says that, right? Name partasi kartavyam trishul lokesha kinchana na anavaptam avaptavyam vartayeva cha karmane. Yadi hem na varteyam yatu karmanyatandritaha mama vartanu vartante manushya partha sarvaja. And then this shloka, Ussideirime loka nakuryam karma chedham Shankara jakarta syamapa anyam ima prajaha. So this shloka, so from 22nd to 24th shloka, Bhagavan says that what should they conduct. And now Arjuna might ask that, is it not that there is no harm whatever to you? You are because you are the Bhagavan, you are the self-realized, you have that realization. That's why there is no harm to you, even though you are engaged in the Loka Sangraha, this protection of the people from going astray. right? So you are, because you have no idea of agentship, you don't think that you are doing this and you own all this. So that's why you don't have that agentship. That's why even if when you perform the karma, you do not have any attachment to those results of those karma. So this again, going back to the shloka, karma naiva samsiddhi mastida janakadaya loka sangrame vapi. So that Loka Sangraha, Arjuna is talking here, right? So when that Loka Sangraha, when you do that, uh, uh, for that you perform these karmas, you do not think that I'm doing for them and I want these results or anything. You just perform, this is your karma, that's why you perform. You don't have any attachment to that karma. You don't have any uh, desires for that outcome of that karma, because you have that, you are that realized person, you are the Bhagavan. But in my case, I'm just a human being, normal, ordinary human being. Knowledge, the jnana, that such a knowledge will be overpowered because my idea of agentship. But I think that I am doing this karma and people are going to follow this and people should follow this. That's what you think. That's what I think, right? So that's why Bhagavan answers that in the next sloka, in the 25th sloka, where we start looking at the wise man's action as contrast with the ignorant. So he starts explaining that, where on the other hand, if like me, that is like Bhagavan saying, if like me, you or someone else possesses the conviction of having the protection, having attained that perfection, that knowledge of the Atma, it is a duty of such one also to work for the welfare of the others, even though even he should perform the action with the view of welfare of the others. That's the, even though there is no obligation for him to perform, he still should continue to perform. That's what Bhagavan says. So we look at that in the next sloka, where 25th sloka, where Bhagavan says, Saktaha karmanya vidvamso yata kurvanti bharata dvidvam tata saktah chikishur lokasangraham. Oh Bharata, oh the one who's born in Bharata uh, dynasty, as the unenlightened people act with attachment to work, so should the enlightened person also act without attachment, being desirous of prevention of people going from astray. That's the meaning. Saktaha means attached. Karmani means duties. Avidvamsaha means the ignorant. Yataha means as much as. Kurvanti means act. Bharata is addressing Arjuna. Kuryat means should do. Vidwan means the wise. Tata means thus. Asaktaha means unattached. So saktaha means attached. Asaktaha means unattached. Chikishur, chiki, chikirshu means wishing. Lokasangraha means welfare of the world. Now, if you look at the explanation for this from Acharya here, Bhagavan addresses Arjuna as, O Bharata, as some unenlightened people act with attachment to the karma, to the work, thinking that this reward, the reward for this karma I'm doing will accrue to me. It will come to me. The reward will come to me. Like that, the unenlightened person thinks, I'm doing this karma, the reward will come to me. Similarly, just like that, the enlightened person, the one who knows the Atma, who has that realization, should act without attachment, remaining unattached. That means giving up the idea of agentship and the hankering for the rewards of that action to oneself. He should give up. Then why does he, that is the enlightened person, act like him? Why does he act like him, that is the unenlightened person? Why should the enlightened person why does the enlightened person act like the unenlightened? That question might come. To that, Bhagavan says that listen to that, being desirous of achieving Loka Sangraham, prevention of people going astray. So you should do it just to prevent the people from going astray. That's why you should do it. Okay. As the unenlightened person, the ignorance undertake action with the attachment to and being engrossed in that karma with the idea of agentship and the desire of the results. Just like that. So, just like that, even an enlightened person, the one who knows Atma, should act with desire of Lokasangraha. But remaining unattached, asaktaha, remaining unattached, without having the idea of agentship and desire for the selfish results, he should perform the karmas. And again, Sri Madhusudan Saraswati in his Bhashya, he adds that Bhagavan here addresses Arjuna as Bharata. And by addressing him, Arjuna as Bharata, Bhagavan points out that you being the scion of the race of Bharata, or that's one meaning. So you come from that Bharata dynasty, or you being devoted to the knowledge, because Bharata, Bha means knowledge, to knowledge, and Rata means devoted. Okay, being devoted. So you being devoted to that knowledge, you are capable of understanding the meaning of the Shastras which has been taught. So that's what he explains. That's how Bhagavan says here. That's how Sri Madhusudan Saraswati explains. Now, Arjuna might ask, what is the reason that Loka Sangraha has to be achieved only through the performance of actions and not through imparting Tattvajnana, knowledge of reality, supreme being? Why can't you do that? So he might, so all great, okay, so we should prevent everybody from going astray, right? So that's I'm the leader, I should prevent everybody from my followers from going astray. I'm the leader, maybe to home or a village or a city or country or whatever, or the world leader, or I'm a great uh, guru, okay, inherit. So whatever my position is, okay, I consider myself as there are somebody looking up to me. So in that case, why should I perform the karma to show them that karma should be performed? Why can't I, because I am the realized person, why can't I tell them this is how the Tattva Jnana is? I should explain them, because we see these days, right? So there is a lot of Vedanta topics and Vedanta discussions and everything. What is Atma and explanation? We also came through that process only, right? Previous Sankhya Yoga, we looked at very much in detail of the Atma Tattva. So why can't we impart that as well? Why can't we directly impart that to the ignorant person, the one who has not realized? That question might come. That's why Bhagavan says in the next shloka here responds in that, because neither for me, that is Bhagavan saying, neither for me who I am already a realized person, nor for any other who is already realized, who wants to prevent people from going astray, is there any duty to, apart from working welfare, working for the welfare of the world, is there any duty? That's the question that Arjuna is asking, and Bhagavan answers that in the next shloka, where in the 26th shloka, where he says that na buddhi vedam janayed dajnanam karma sanginam joshayet sarvakarmani vidvan nyukta samacharam. The enlightened man should not create disturbance in the belief of the ignorant who are attached to work. Working while himself remaining diligent, he should make them do all the duties. So the meaning of padartha is na means not, buddhi vedam means discord in intellects, and janayet means should create, ajnanam means of the ignorant, karma sanginam means who are attached to fruitive actions, joshayet means should inspire them to perform, sarva means all, karmani means prescribed, vidwan means the wise, yukta means enlightened, samacharan means performing properly. Now, the explanation for this shloka, Sri Shankaracharya explains that the enlightened man should create Vidwan na janayet. Enlightened for should not create. He should not create buddhi bedam, disturbance in beliefs, or disturbance in firm beliefs. This has to be done, and the result of this action is to be reaped by me, and so on. He should not disturb that belief of whose belief? Of ajnanam, of the ignorant, the one who does not have the discriminating power, the non-discriminating one, and who are attached to the work. So people are attached to work. They do perform things thinking that if I perform this karma, I'm going to get this benefit, all these things. By giving this tattva jnana, right, about Atma, the topics about that Atma, he should not confuse them. He should not disturb their belief. Because saying that, again, we have to be very careful here. What Bhagavan is saying is, when we looked at the Atma, the Sankhya Yoga and these details of Atma and how to get there, the conducts of Sthita Prajna and things like that, the characteristics of Sthita Prajna and things like that, we clearly looked at throughout that process in the Sankhya Yoga and in places, this Karma Yoga as well. We looked at that karma one has to perform without attachment, desires, right? Hankering for the outcomes. But normally, everyone performs with desires for outcomes. If you are if you or me or whoever it is, that person who has realized in that realized state, if he says that you should perform karma, you should not perform karma because karma binds you, it results in samsara and things like that. If he starts saying that, then he is disturbing that belief. That's why Bhagavan says that the enlightened man, by instructing about the self, about the Atma, which is not an agent, one should not create any disturbance in the beliefs. I shall perform this work and I shall enjoy it. Those kind of beliefs, that buddhi of the ignorant, of the non-discriminating ones, who are attached to the works, who are engrossed in the karmas with the idea of agentship and desire for the results, one should not disturb that belief. That's what Bhagavan says here. So the enlightened person should not disturb because he thinks that enlightened person himself, he thinks his view is karmas are useless. There's no, it's going to bind it, right? So if that's the case, he should not do that. But what should he do? Himself working, samacharan, himself working, performing those very activities of the ignorant while remaining diligent, he should make them do all the duties. That's what Bhagavan says. While himself remaining alert, yuktaha means remaining alert, diligent. The enlightened person, desires of loka sangraha, should make them do these duties with joy by arousing them their faith, by duly performing himself all the duties which the unenlightened person are eligible. He should do that. Here again, we can look at examples as well, right? So Shankaracharya, today Shankaracharya Mahasannidhanam Sringeri Jagadguru as right, for example. If you look at them, they perform the conduct, they perform the Chandramaulishwara Puja every day. They perform all the vratas, they perform Sharadamba Puja, they perform all the vratas, pujas, everything they perform. Why they perform? Because the people like us who are attached to those kind of things, who have a belief that by performing those vratas, by performing those pujas, we get something, right? And we gain something. So the first step is to perform those karmas. And that's why if they give up, we say that the guru at that mata himself, he does not perform anything. Why should I? Right? If he goes and starts eating, let's say, we have seen swamis, right? So gurus eating in all the places or doing all sort of things. If that guru does, then the next thing is what his followers also will do. Right? This is again cycle. The messages here is very clear. Even though one is enlightened, to make sure that the other's faith is not disturbed, their beliefs are not disturbed, so they can continue in their journey, because not everybody is on the same level. So they continue in their journey. The enlightened person should continue with the same diligence, same faith, same care. He should perform, remaining alert. He should perform exactly like that unenlightened person. All the karmas he should perform. That's what Bhagavan says here. If the beliefs of those ignorant people are disturbed by instructing them, then since the faith in the karma will cease for them, because they will think that performing karma is not good and it's not going to result anything and things like that. The ignorant people, if you tell them that this is no good, their faith will cease, they will not stop performing karmas, and the knowledge will not, also not rise to them, because their purification, mental purification, the chitta shuddhi is not going to happen to them, right? So it will not rise. So the result will be, they will be deprived of both. They will not have karma, they will not have jnana. So that's why, and this is the same thing as said in the Yoga Vasishta as well, where it says that tata choktam ajnasyardha prabuddhasya sarvam brahmeti yo vadet mahaniraya jaleshu sa tena viniyojitaha. So ajnasyardha prabuddhasya. So ajna ardha prabuddha. So if one tells an ignorant and half awakened person that everything is Brahman, then that person will be thrown in the great chain of hell by the person who is telling it. Right? So that's what Yoga Vasishta says. So we see, right? So this is again, I quote some of these things in today's world, right? So where we see a lot of people like everything is Brahman and we are all equal and all these things, right? Everybody can do everything, or you don't have to have a specific karmas assigned to you and all those kind of things. That's what they are telling. And when they say these things, this is what exactly here we see in the Yoga Vasishta, where Vasishta Muni tells Sri Rama that if one tells that ignorant or the half awakened person, okay, ardha prabuddha, so half awakened person, that everything is from sarvam brahmeti. So if the person tells him, then he is going to be thrown into chain of hell, because he stops his performing his karma, he's not attained his jnana, that realization. That's why he ends up in that state. So although the performance of the duties be same in the case of both enlightened and unenlightened men, still, by the way of showing the difference between them, Bhagavan, in accordance with the presence and absence of idea of agentship, he explains in these two verses, right, where he explains the meaning, in these two verses, the meaning of the verse he explains where the unenlightened people perform their duties with attachment and things like that. Saktaha karmanna vidvamso yatha kurvanti bharata kuryad vidvams tata sakta chikishur loka sangraham. Right, 25th shloka we look, and this shloka, Bhagavan explains the difference between he explains that, so that difference where the agentship, the one who has enlightened, that person performs the same karma without any attachment, just for the purpose of loka sangraha. Make sure that people don't go astray, does not follow him and go a wrong path. That's why he performs, nothing else. And on the other hand, the ignorant person performs it with the view of some desires. That's what. Now the question is, how does an unilluminated and the ignorant person become attached to the actions? How does he become attached to the actions? That Bhagavan explains in the next shloka, where he says, Prakrutehi kriyamanani gunaihi karmani sarvashah ahankara vimudhatma kartahamiti manyate. While the actions are being done in every way by the gunas of Prakriti, one who is deluded by egoism thinks, I am the doer. So, Prakritehi means the Prakriti, material nature. Kriyamanani means carried out. Gunaihi means the three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. Karmani means activities. Sarvashaha means all kinds of. Ahankara vimudhatma means the one who is bewildered by the ego and misidentify themselves with the body. Karta means the doer. Aham means I. Iti means thus. Manyate means think. Now, the while the actions, whether it is secular or scriptural, are being done in every way, the gunas, that is by the modification of the form of in the form of body and organs, born of Prakriti, that is the nature, otherwise known as Pradhana. So here Acharya here explains Prakriti Pradhanam Sattva Rajas Tamasam Gunanam Samyavastha. So Prakriti is the is known as Pradhana, which is being the state of equilibrium of three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. We look at these gunas later in Bhagavad Gita, when Guna Karma Vibhaga Yoga, when we go there, we look at that in detail. But these three gunas are in equilibrium. That doesn't mean that they are in 33% or whatever. Okay, so they are equally there. It is not that. There is a balance. Okay, it may be sattva is 99%, rajas tamas is whatever, half a percent, or it may be the other way around. Even half a percent of sattva or 1% of sattva may overpower 48% of rajas and tamas each. Okay, so but there is that equilibrium. That's what things such a person, while actions are being done in every way by these gunas, which are born of this prakriti, the person thinks that ahankara vimudhatma, the one whose mind, antakarana, is deluded by egoism, ahankara, he thinks that I am the doer, aham karta, he thinks that I am the doer. So he thinks like I am the one who is doing all this. The ahankara is the self-identification with the aggregate of the body and the organs. So this body and organs, if I think that's me, that's the ahankara. He whose atma, here atma is mind or antaratma, antakarana, is vimudham, is deluded in diverse ways. By that ahankara is known as ahankara vimudhatma. And he who imagines the characteristics of the body and organs to be his own, and who has self-identification with the body and organs, who through ignorance believes the activities to be his own, he thinks that I am the doer of these diverse activities. So that's what he does, such a person. The one who imagines his body and organs to be his own, and who has self-identification with the body and organ, and because of those through ignorances, he believes the activities has to be his own, and such a person thinks that I am the doer of all these karmas. Karyakarana dharma, karyakarana abhimani, avidyaya karmani atmani manyamana tatat karmanam aham karta iti manyate. So he thinks that aham karta, I am the doer of these diverse kind of karmas. So we he Bhagavan here again explains that because of Prakriti, by nature, by the means of Maya, which is constituted by the gunas Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, and has the nature of false ignorance, and is the power of Paramatma, Supreme Lord, in accordance, again, this said in the Shrutis as well, where it says that one should know that Prakriti surely is Maya, and the Supreme Lord, Paramatma, Maheshwara, is the ruler of the Maya, to be sure. That's what Shweta Tara Upanishad says, which says that Mayam tu Prakritim Vidyan, Mayinam tu Maheshwaram, Tasya Vayava Bhutais tu Vyaptam Sarvam Idam Jagat. So, this uh, one should know that this everything is Prakriti is Maya, and Paramatma is the Supreme Lord, is the ruler of that Maya. So while actions, whether it is mundane or Vedic, are being performed in every way by the gunas, the transformation of in the form of cause and effect of that Prakriti, the one whose mind is deluded by the Ahankara, whose mind is incapable of distinguishing the true nature of the Atma, on the account of identifying himself with the aggregate of body and organs, one who thinks of non-self as the self, that such a person thinks that kartaham, I am the doer, I perform these actions, by supervising the idea of agentship on the Atma. He imposes that I am the one who is doing this. But the enlightened person does not think so. That's what the Bhagavan says in the next shloka, where he says, Tattvavittu mahabhaho gunakarma vibhagayoh gunaguneshu vartanta iti matva na sajjate. O mighty armed one, but the one who is the knower of the facts, here the realized person, about the varieties of the gunas and the action, does not become attached, thinking thus the organs rest or act on the objects of the uh, uh, senses or the organs. He thinks like that. So Tattvavit means the knower of the truth, Tu means but, Mahabhaho means mighty armed one, Gunakarma means of the gunas and karmas, Vibhagayo means distinguish, Guna means modes of, again, the material nature in the shape of senses, mind, and others. Guneshu means modes of material nature in the sense of shapes of objects of perception. Vartante means engaged. Iti means thus. Matva means knowing. Na means never. Sajjate means become attached. We'll look at the details of the shloka, the commentary on this, next time when we get there.